Hey guys, welcome back to For the Sake of a Generation podcast. Today we're going to be talking about emotions, and we kind of talked about like yielding emotions. Jenna, do you want to talk about like where this came from, the idea that you had with the Lord to talk about this?
Yeah, so I've actually talked about this in a few episodes now, so not to harp on this, this is just kind of the season of life that I'm in. I've just been walking through a lot of stuff over the last year, like in friendship and like relationships and stuff like that, and that's created a lot of like complex emotions. I think every time I come to the Lord in the secret place, I'm like, wow, I feel so many complex emotions right now, Lord, and I just don't even know what to do with them. And I think sometimes I believe the lie that it is wrong to feel big emotions and that I have to shove them all down and be indifferent and nonchalant to honor God, which is so not true. And I think a lot of the Lord teaching me this was birthed out of like time I was spending with him in the secret place, but also I've been really deeply studying a book called Gentle and Lowly. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's all about like the gentle and lowly heart of Christ. And there's a whole chapter about the emotional life of Christ. And
That's so cool.
It's so cool, and it talks about like all the emotions that Jesus felt, about how he like yielded them to the Father and how they were like all submitted under his authority, and how like he honored God and also honored people and loved people well in the midst of all like this whole range of emotions that he felt, and was always obedient and was still perfect. And so I think that really gives us a perfect example of I can be emotional, like I can feel all these things, but it's
God
how
gave us emotions.
Yes, it's like how I'm doing it and what I'm doing with them that determines whether it's obedient or disobedient and sinful and not sinful. So that's kind of where this has come out of.
That's really good. That's really good. Okay. So with that, I feel like there was something you said about emotions too. Was there something you said before we started that you wanted to share?
Sure. I just feel like the past month of my life, and before that too, but like I've been praying for probably the past 3 weeks, like constantly, Lord, return me to the heart of tenderness like a child. Like the way that a child is tender to falling on the ground and getting hurt and like immediately can burst into tears over that little of a thing, like even if it didn't hurt that bad, because they are so comfortable in themselves and like you know,
That's true.
I just like the Lord gave me that image, and I was just like like I've lost a lot of that in hard seasons of trial and walking through bitterness and resentment and forgiveness. And it's like, okay, I'm kind of on the other side of that, but I'm not as tender as I used to be. It's like there's this like back end of it that's like, yeah, I've walked through the forgiveness journey, but like I've lost some tenderness there that I want restored.
Right.
And I think I started to notice it when like conversations were coming up with friends and like people I was really close to that used to make me like just sob and like weep on their behalf, and I couldn't. Like I just couldn't even really feel anything for them, and that is abnormal for me. Like since knowing the Lord, that has been something that I've constantly talked about, is like I'm a feeler. I feel really deeply, and that's a gift, and I love that. And so I really just wanted that back. And so I've been walking through, and I'm still walking through, like a journey of asking the Lord to give it back. And just watching him do that in really cool ways. And, like, be faithful in the process, because it's like the loss of tenderness is a learned behavior. And it's a protection mechanism that I've built up walls around my heart. Like I'm not actually gonna let people in, and I'm not gonna go that deeply with other people voluntarily anymore to protect myself.
That's I think I've struggled with that with the season I'm coming out of too. And like even things that were said to me, like where my emotions were kind of like used against me, if that makes sense. Like crying and being weak in front of people was like literally boomeranged and used against me like in an instant. And I think like I've forgiven for that, right? Like you said, but sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't even really know how to do that. Like I don't really know how and I had to be vulnerable with certain people. And I think so often for me, like, coming out of that, because like you said, it's a process of learning how to come out of that. And I've been, like, trying to ask the Lord and, like, we're started in the journey because I've recognized it already. But in that, sometimes it comes out as, like, I can't feel anything. Oh, my gosh, here's everything. And, like, literally 2 weeks ago, I guess now, I moved from Boone. And, like, that was the most, like, that should have been the most devastating thing ever for me. And I didn't cry until the day before I moved. That was the first time I cried about it. Yeah. Aside from the moment the Lord told me. And I was like, I know these feelings are going to catch up to me. I just can't feel them right now. There was nothing I could do to feel it.
It's almost like you want to.
Yeah.
Like you're, like, trying to kind of make yourself, like, you kind of, like, try to fake it to try to get there. Yeah. Because that would feel good.
Because it's what's supposed to happen. Like, that's what's natural. And you learn to not do that. Like, but naturally that is, at least for me and you, like, maybe not for everybody, but that is what's natural for us. And so...
Yeah, and that was one of the situations that really drew attention to, like, some serious issues in my heart. Is because I couldn't either. Over my best friend leaving the location that I was in. Yeah. That should have been devastating for me. And it was. Yeah. And, like, I do feel that in my head. But I can't, like, make it translate. Like, there was even a moment where I was like, wow, I could cry about it right now, but I have to go to class. So, never mind. Can't deal with that right now. Yeah. Like, because if at that point, it's like, if it caught up to me, it was going to be a whole day.
And that's what happened to me. I cried for, like, I don't know, you'd have to aspirate in probably 2 hours.
So it's just like there's a healthy way, and I'm not in it right now. I'm not healthy right now, and I recognize that, and I'm asking the Lord, like, restore that to me. Like, I wrote a whole thing in my journal for multiple weeks in a row about different things, but I wrote the definition of tender is vulnerability, compassion, or pity, and, like, I just wrote, tenderize my heart, O Lord. Fill it with a river of compassion for the people around me, for my professors, church leadership, people that come against me, and for this house, for the lost sheep. I want to be a safe place for people to come. I need you to break me, Lord. Soften me. Prepare me. I want to be a woman of war and great compassion. I want to speak the truth in love, but I don't want one without the other. I want truth and love. And, like, that has been the cry of my heart. And that's a really vulnerable thing for me to share, honestly, because it's so real. But it's just been, like, something that even before I was a believer, or I like, grew up in church, but, like, before I surrendered to the Lord, I dealt with a lot of mental health issues and just, like, problems. And in that is exactly what it was like. It was this, like, stuff.
You are ministering to me right now like crazy. I'm like, I'm in Revelation.
Stuff it down until it piles up and explodes. And it is uncontrollable at that point. Yep. And it was like, I knew that was going to be catastrophic, and so I would avoid. To the point where I made myself apathetic. It wasn't just something that happened to me. It wasn't numbness that just crept up on me and was like, oh.
And then once you're so far in, it's like, it takes God to get you out of there. Yes. Like, you can't just snap your fingers and be out of it.
Absolutely. But I will say in this season it's been different because I have constantly been like, Lord, this is not a problem where I haven't been honest with you. I have been honest with you every step of the way. You know exactly how I feel. But it's like, it doesn't translate right now. And it's because I've still built up walls around my heart. Yeah. It's been, like, small compromises of, like, I don't want to feel that. Or I don't want to go there. Yeah. Or that's really hurtful, so I'm going to step back for a second. Yeah. And it just piles up.
Yeah, I think that's so true for me, too. I think this episode is funny to me already because I was thinking, like, how you introduced the topic feels so different than what we're talking about. But it's like, I think I have thought these things through with the Lord some, But it's like one of those things, unless I remind myself it's there, I just forget that I'm like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, unless I remind myself that this is something I need to pay attention to, it's like I lose the like pulse on it, and then I just forget it's there, and I just let it like fester,
and then it's part of the buildup.
Yeah, and so, this is really interesting for me right now. I'm like unpacking my heart right now.
Yeah.
Because I think it's hard where I'm at to, I can't make it happen. I can't make it happen, and it's really not out of anger or bitterness. I think that it was like a way of protecting myself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or even just like coping, navigating through the situation that I was in. That was really intense and like really hard for my heart. And I felt like in this funk ever since I've been home. And even this weekend, I felt in this funk that I've been texting Braden all weekend, like, I just don't know what's wrong with me, but something's wrong. And I don't think this is all of it, but I wonder if this is part of it. Yeah. Like there's more the Lord wants to heal and restore and recover, and including Jenna's ability to breathe.
Sorry guys, I really tried to hold it in, but I was like,
it's okay.
I'm about to start choking.
It's okay.
You can have my water if you want.
I'm just gonna take a sip right here. Yep.
She's a smoker. All of a sudden. Yeah.
That's funny. Sorry guys.
Anyway, I was kind of done with what I was saying anyway. Like, I don't know. I think I'm just like,
it's true. Like, healing, it's like you think you're done. You think you're alright. And then, like, truly though, like, you think, like, okay, Lord, you have really protected me. Like,
and you have, and
so
he
has.
has.
But that doesn't mean that, like, there aren't scars and there aren't, like, wounds that are still, like, partially open or maybe scabbed over but not healed yet. And it's, like, it's okay to acknowledge that and to, like, deal with that with the Lord, and it's healthy too. And I told myself, like, for years after, like, really giving my life to the Lord, that I never wanted to return to that place of, like, deeply struggling in my mind, and I knew that I had the habit of just like stuffing things down.
Yeah.
And so I journaled. I went through so many journals my first year of like really surrendering to the Lord, because I was like, I have all this built up, I have to get it out.
Yeah.
And he did so much work in my heart, and I just feel like it's kind of, he's teaching me that like that's my life, like, is I have to constantly go back to that place of like, okay, things happen, trials are real, and like that's not just pre-testimony stuff. Like, I need to continue those good, healthy, healing habits, because it's guarding my heart. That's what it means to guard my heart in this season.
Yeah.
And you don't just do it once, like it's a constant like
totally
reset of your mind and your heart.
Yeah. I wrote, like, right before I wrote the other thing, I wrote, like, I feel like there's a film over my eyes that keeps me from seeing people for how you created them. Instead, I see them through a lens of skepticism and criticism. I tiptoe my way around authority because I'm scared of that feeling. Broken trust, like my heart has just been dropped in the floor. Remove the film over my eyes and help me to see people through your eyes. Because that's where it started. I was like, okay, if I could identify the first root of this, it's like, okay, it's like my vision got glazed over, and that's the way my heart feels in a way. It's like there's a film over it that just needs to be wiped clean. So there's just a lot in that, you know? And the Lord is so good and kind to do it, but it's a process, and I'm sitting here not through it and not healthy yet. Like, I'm healing. I'm not there yet, and that's okay. But I know, like, God is doing it. He's doing it, and He will do it. But it takes work. It takes work, and it takes renewing your habits and the things, the way that you think. It's like the renewal of your mind all over again. You know, you have to just ask the Lord to, like, give you the mind of Christ.
And a heart of stone for a heart of flesh.
Yeah.
Turn the heart of stone to a heart of flesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like, it's so important that we like join in the Lord, like with the Lord in that work, because I think I've seen how quick, and I'm sure you guys like from what you're like speaking of can experience that too, but like the way that like undealt with emotions can like corrupt your heart so fast. It's like that's like where that film comes from, over our eyes and over our heart, and that's where the like skepticism and the criticism and the judgment and like the I only see people from a hurt lens now comes from, is it's like emotions that I have refused to deal with that have created like corruption and like a hard heart within me.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I think I've been like really trying to navigate that with the Lord, of how do we get to that place of like my heart is soft again for people, and I don't see people through a hurt lens, or I don't see people from a place of distrust. And it's like, what's the balance between being honest with myself and with the Lord, and like feeling emotions and guarding my heart and still being careful and being cautious, but not being so clouded by emotion and so hardened that I can't let anybody in, and I can't open up, and I can't address emotions or address the hurt that I feel from people. It's like, what is the balance between those two things, you know? Like, how do I not just like open the floodgates but not be so hardened that I can't, like, I don't have room to let anybody in, and I'm just seeing the world through like a corrupt lens, you know?
Yeah. I think for me it went from a shift of like I felt anger, and I felt like it was getting to a place of bitterness and resentment, and not just healthy anger. It was turning to sin, and so then I just shut it off. I just hit the off button.
It's hard because
it's like, okay, I just won't feel that right now.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Because I'm not gonna feel the forgiveness part yet. I'm not there yet. You know. So then when I started to forgive, I realized, oh, my heart has taken a lot, and I turned it off, and now I need to turn it back on, and I have to relive all of it.
You have to actually work through it and not just shut it down.
Yeah.
Right.
Jenna, back to the thought you had about like what's a proper place to be like open but not like completely just like to the point where we're venting and gossiping and letting everybody and their brother into what's going on in our heart, because that's not the space for everybody. Even before you said that, I felt like the Lord was like, hey, like, you're in your heart and your mind. Like, right now, I'm still kind of in a vulnerable place. And I think first I have to acknowledge that with myself. That, like, sometimes things people do hurt in a way that they normally don't, and that they probably shouldn't, but I'm in a vulnerable place right now. So to be aware of that for me is step number one.
Absolutely.
Number two, I think to let a couple people that you're walking with daily know. And so like for me, I'm just sitting here thinking about like sharing that with Braden, and one other person comes to mind as well. That I just need to be honest. And like, and it's not even that I've tried to hide it, because I've been really honest with Braden about what I have known. But I think like as we're talking, the Lord's revealing things to me, as I said. And so I think letting one or two in, like I think about, for Jesus it was Peter, James, and John. Like those were his three people that knew it all, that he would take up on the mountain and reveal things to, that he wouldn't tell all the disciples. And like, so think about those, and it needs to be people, which this is the hard part for me now, is it needs to be people who are with me on the day-to-day, which is no longer anyone in this room, which is hard, like, because that would be the typical people for me, which is a challenge, because that means I have to trust someone new, and in this season, that's the very thing that's hard, but the Lord's revealing to me one person that I've never gone there with, that he's like, hey, that person's safe.
Wow.
And the Lord is kind and faithful to do that. Like,
that's good.
Like, he so cares for our hearts, that like in moments where our hearts are fragile, it makes me think, whenever I first stepped into ministry, I was like, vocationally, it was so scary, and there were so many things that, and I would tell y'all, like, every time I take a step, I feel like I'm stepping off the mountain, then I land in a pile of feathers. That's how I described it every time. And it's like, hey, like, he wants to give me people whose whose hands I can put my heart in that feel like my heart landing in a pile of feathers.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yes, Jesus, but also the body.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think right now, like, I have Brayden and I have my family, but I don't feel like I have a ton of girls as biblical community at home right now because all the girls that were my biblical community at home are no longer home. And so that is another challenge, but I don't know. I just feel like the Lord is like, hey, here's like, discernment is helpful, and I feel like he just showed me something in the spirit, which is helpful, but like, it just reminded me of the faithfulness of God, that like, while I don't have any of you guys walking alongside me from day to day, while I don't have Celia walking alongside me from day to day, or like really anyone else that I've gone there with before other than Brayden, like, he's providing a way.
Yeah.
And he always does.
That's good.
So, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with that. What I feel like he's asking me to do right now, which feels so vulnerable, especially with someone new.
Yeah.
You know?
But like, how kind of the Lord to prepare the way for healing in your life so clearly. Like that, there it is.
Yeah. Ugh. It's also interesting because one thing the Lord has said over and over about that person is like, they have the heart of the Father. And that just came to me. And the Lord is so kind, like,
Yeah.
hey, this one has my heart,
Yeah.
so you can trust that.
That's good. That's good.
Talk about emotions.
Yeah. Really? That's, yeah.
There's tissues next to you if you need.
Thanks. Just in case.
No,
The Lord's getting us right now.
He really is.
Mm.
That's what I've been asking him. He'll answer. He's faithful. The Lord used the same night that I wrote that I read to y'all, which was really vulnerable, and I normally don't share things like that, but because it's so raw and like,
It's an open wound right now. It's not one that's already been healed up.
yeah, and it's fresh, and I'm still
Yeah.
dealing with it.
Yeah.
But I felt led to read those because like that's just where I'm at, and there's power in that. But the same night that I wrote those, I didn't tell anybody, and I cried to the Lord at New Life at our college ministry beforehand during prayer about it to the Lord out loud in public prayer. There were like 5 people in the room, and I yelled at the Lord, like I was like, you have to change my heart, you have to. And in that confession to the Lord before people that were safe, he did like probably over half of the work right there, because it was like people got to just like receive from that and then look at me with the same eyes and be like, I gave you, and I've got you. And now it's like there's an accountability in that without me ever having to do I need to confess something to you, like I really need you to hold me accountable. Like I just prayed. I was just where I was at with the Lord in front of people, you know? And somebody came up to me after and was like, and he didn't know where I was at with all of that, and that I was asking the Lord that, and he was like, have you heard of like the covenant with Abraham that was circumcision? And I was like, yeah. He was like, well, you know, like circumcision. He told me a story in the Bible about this girl. Actually, I'll look it up. Her name's Dinah. Anybody know? Yeah? Okay.
That sounds so familiar.
Dinah in the Bible. Okay. Genesis chapter 30. Let's try there. So Dinah, basically, it was kind of crazy, and it's probably over several chapters. Okay, 34, guys. Chapter 34. Basically, this is a sensitive subject, just for clarification, but Dinah, if I'm looking at it correctly, basically went to the Philistines, and the Philistines raped her. And she came back to the Israelites. She was an Israelite, and they were really, like, she was really upset. She was like, this happened to me. I need you guys to protect me, basically. I'm really summarizing because this is over chapters and chapters of scripture. Or maybe it is just 34. But basically, the Philistines came back to the Israelites and they were like, so we really think your women are just gorgeous and we really want to intermarry. And the Israelites were like, okay, well, we are circumcised and we're not going to offer our women to you unless you're circumcised and under covenant. And so the Philistines were like, okay, every man will be circumcised and we'll trade women, basically. Okay, just stick with me here. And circumcision was such a painful process that all of the men in the city got circumcised at the same time, and they were in the bed, unable to move, in seething pain for 3 days. And the Israelites went into war and conquered them while they were all, in the bed, unable to move. It was their war strategy because they were unable to fight. They were like, okay, they have no idea what's coming for them. So in the New Testament, Jesus uses the analogy of circumcision of the heart. And that man at New Life said to me, he said, how many of us have been circumcised in the heart so much with the heart of the Father? He breaks us so much that we are in the bed for 3 days unable to move in that much pain for what he hurts for. And I was like, whoa, this is what I'm asking God to do in my life, And he doesn't know. And he looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, you're circumcised in heart. And I was like, wow, that was the word of the Lord over me in that moment, because I was wrestling. I was like, Lord, I need this back. And he's like, I'm giving it to you. Yeah, I'm giving it to you. It's going to be painful, but I'm giving it to you. And it's good. So, I encourage y'all to read that. I need to read it. Yeah, it says, verse 24, it says, and all who went out of the gate listened to Hamor and his son Shechem. I don't know how you say that. And every male was circumcised, all who went out of the gate of the city. On the third day, when they were sore, 2 of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords and came against the city while it felt secure and killed all the males. So it was that much pain. So it's interesting that Jesus uses that verbiage to describe what he wants to do to our hearts in relationship with him.
Okay, so we're going to try to... We have to cut this off every 10 minutes for the sake of Lydia's camera. And we're going to try to do our normal transition into kind of pick it up where we left off. And in that, we ended up with 30-minute?
Probably, yeah.
30-minute period of just not filming, which just, this is something that is not super abnormal, but this episode specifically, for Olivia and I and what you've seen has been kind of vulnerable, really vulnerable, actually, not kind of vulnerable, it's been really vulnerable,
yeah,
and then we turned the camera off, the Lord started to minister to Jenna, and then we all kind of got to join in on that, and speaking to her and just encouraging her in the Lord. But I say that to say I said, we talked about just trying to pick up where we left off 30 minutes ago when we were filming this, but I think I just kind of got convicted as we were praying before we started filming again that really we just need to give credit to the work that the Lord is doing. We constantly say that this ministry ministers to us more than it will probably ever minister to anyone else, and I think often, we just say that, and we know what that looks like, but, the Lord just kind of laid it on my heart to share with you guys, we, number one, do not have it all figured out, and number two, we are being constantly renewed and transformed. Day by day, and, yeah, it's a joy that we get to walk that out together and walk it out with you guys, and honestly, sometimes that feels really vulnerable when wounds are still fresh or still open and the Lord isn't, like, the work isn't done yet. But there's such a beauty in that too, and Scripture talks about boasting in your weaknesses.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what this episode has felt like.
Yeah.
And I just want to give credit to the work of the Lord, because what happens when the cameras aren't on quite frequently is that the Lord moves.
Yeah.
Not that he doesn't move with the cameras on, but he still moves with the cameras off. And so, yeah, I just want to give him credit for the work that he's doing in all of our hearts as we're sitting here and fleshing this out with each other. And like Jenna even said before we started rolling again, that this is a topic the Lord has put on her heart all day. And once she's been like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then like finally, here we are. And yeah, I just want to testify too, like, when the Lord has something in store, it's so good and it's so much better than what we expect. And when you talking about emotions, like, this is not what I expected at all.
Yeah.
And it's just the work of the Lord. So I just want to give credit to that. And then with that, we can kind of go back to anything y'all feel led to talk about. I don't even remember where we were before we stopped recording earlier. And I think we were kind of like, what we were saying was kind of concluded. So if anybody has something, whether it be totally fresh or something that you learned while the cameras were off that you feel specifically led to share, anything, with somebody.
Yeah, I think while we were talking and praying, something that you said, Olivia, that really like struck me was that like the enemy wants us to believe the lie that we don't have to feel deeply. Like it's too hard or it's not worth it. And to believe that we're made in the image of God, and if we're going to be ambassadors for Christ, then we have to feel deeply. And I really think that is a lie that I know personally I really struggle with, of like, I don't have to feel things deeply, like I'm just not a deep feeler and that's okay. And even if we're not, I believe that the Lord wants to transform us to become that. Like he wants us to feel deeply with him. And I think like in feeling deeply with him, that's how we learn how to honor him with emotion and in hard times and in big feelings. And I think a lot of my inability to do that is coming from an unwillingness to feel big things with him. Because when I feel big things on my own strength, it feels really unmanageable, because it is. And so instead of asking him to help me, I just flip the switch and try to turn it off, which I think you were talking about that earlier, Olivia. And so I think even just like as the camera is off, the Lord is like working on my heart and like deconstructing lies and like pinpointing the root of a lot of those struggles for me. And like I think he's doing that for all of us. And so I think like as y'all are watching, like he wants to do that for you too. So I'm praying that he would do that and that you would give him the space to do that, because even just like in the last 30 minutes, it's been like confirmation on things that I already knew, but also revelation for things that I like didn't know or like was in denial of.
Yeah, that's good. Also, this is kind of funny that it came back around to this, but earlier you asked like, what does it look like to like, I don't even know what you said, like flesh out your emotions without it being like, I don't know exactly how you worded it, but basically like, how you talk about your emotions without it being unproductive kind of thing. I think that's what kind of what just happened. Like, if the presence of the Lord isn't there, it's just gossip and venting and unproductive flesh. Like, it's just your flesh. When you invite the Spirit in and biblical community, then you were speaking what you thought was truth, and we were saying, hey, that is a lie. And like, and then there was new revelation and confirmation of things that had already been revealed. And it's like, that's what it looks like to have productive conversation about emotions that aren't good or like that aren't easy. You know, whether that be anger or sadness or bitterness, or even we got to the root of offense. Like all of those things can, with the wrong people or even just in the wrong heart posture or circumstance, really be gossip and unproductive. Or with the Spirit and with pure hearts and like the right group of people,
Mhm.
yes, and intentionality,
Mm.
it can be a really fruitful time of,
Yeah.
hey, we're not going to badmouth that person.
Mhm.
We're going to get to the root of our hearts so
Yeah.
that we can be transformed to look more like Jesus, because
Absolutely.
ultimately we're never going to change other people, and we're never going to like be able to work out why they make us feel a certain way or whatever,
Mhm.
but we can always become more like him.
Mm,
Yeah.
And there's
so
always
good.
an invitation for that when we feel
good.
hurt or anger or any of the negative emotions.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's
That's so good. I think we even had a conversation back in November, where we were kind of talking. I don't even know how we stumbled upon this, but talking about like, where am I running with emotion? Like, as soon as emotion springs up, where am I going?
Mm.
Because I think the temptation is just to go to people,
Mhm.
even like great people,
Mhm.
you know, like people that I trust and people that I love, people that I'm walking with and people that are wise.
Mm.
But until I've ran to the Lord and brought it before Him, there's nothing that anybody else can do for me, because I can't get confirmation on something I haven't heard yet.
Right.
You know, and so if I'm not taking it to the Lord, I haven't heard the word of the Lord, so then you can't confirm. So now all I have to go on is what Caroline said or what Olivia said. And as much as I love y'all are not the word of the Lord.
Yeah.
And so I think there's also been like fault in me in that of like, man, this made me so upset or so angry. I'm just gonna go tell my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna go tell this person that's mentoring me that I really trust. Great, but in what order?
Right.
You know, like the Lord comes first and then we go to the people we trust,
Yeah.
because in the wrong order that becomes detrimental. And then it
Mhm.
becomes noise, and then it becomes gossip, and now we're not getting anywhere. And I have to keep bringing it up again and again and again, because those people can't solve the problem for me.
Right.
They can't. We can talk about it all the live long day, but it's not going to do anything because I haven't heard the word of the Lord. And until I hear the word of the
Mhm.
Lord, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
Literally nothing.
Mm, that's
good.
really good.
Yeah, Jenna, that's really good. I think something that I've been really learning in this season of life is that repentance is awesome.
Yes.
And
It's good.
it's so good because it returns us to walking in the right direction,
Mm-hmm.
and our eyes are fixed on the Lord again. However, we are free, but confession is the evidence of freedom.
Yeah.
Because if I confess it to you, now there's no shame there.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's no foothold for the enemy to get in. I can be repentant, walking in the right direction, in purity with the Lord, eyes fixed on the Lord, and still not be free, not be walking in freedom. Because, so confession in the New Testament is for us. It's the evidence that we're free. So I think like when you're talking about like walking, like what do we do with our emotions?
Mhm.
I think we repent of where we've missed the mark, and then we confess, and then we walk in freedom.
Yep.
Period. Like that is where we go with that. And like it's a process, but I've noticed that when I am struggling to confess it, it's really like I've put myself in prison again, even though I'm free. Like the door's hanging wide open, but I'm sitting in the back of the cell. It's like I'm repentant, I'm walking in the right direction, but I'm not actually walking out of the jail. Like I'm still sticking myself there, like I'm in timeout, or I'm just afraid. Or
It's like
just
you're walking in the
hard.
light, but you still are trying to hide.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yes,
Does that
exactly.
make sense? Like the imagery of that in my head, like I imagine, like when you're walking in the darkness, no one can see you. But when you're walking in the light, like I literally imagine like
That's so
a beam
good.
of light shining on a person who's walking, but they're like, wait, like I still don't want people to see me.
Yeah. But it's because they feel exposed.
Yeah.
It's because you get to that spot of like, oh, okay, I'm in the right way. And then it's like, boom.
Right.
And you're like, vulnerable, exposed, terrified, want to go back there. And so you almost, it's not like you return to sinning, but you're like, where can I go to find shelter? And it's those habits. It's those small compromises all over again that get you into a pattern of strongholds that keep you in the same rhythm you're trying to break out of.
Yeah.
Even though you're with the Lord. It's like,
Yeah.
even what we were talking about in our 30-minute intermission. It was like, it's not that we're not seeking Him. That's not the problem. The problem is not that we're not repentant. It's not that we don't want the problem fixed. It's not that we're sinning. It's that we're repentant, but we're not, like, really, like, okay with, like, at least for me, it's like, I don't want to feel that vulnerable and that exposed, so I'm hiding. Yeah. That's all. It's good.
Yeah. I think sometimes too the problem is that we aren't repentant. I think that also is a problem. I think it's been a problem for me. And this is Psalm 32. And it starts off by saying, blessed is the one whose transgressions are forgiven, whose sins are covered. Blessed is the one whose sin the Lord does not count against them, and in whose spirit is no deceit. Then it goes into say, this is one of my favorite scriptures right now, y'all.
31.
It's 32.
Oh.
Yes. Psalm 32, this is verse 3 that I'm about to read. It says, when I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long. For day and night your hand was heavy on me, and my strength was sapped as in the heat of summer. Then I acknowledged my sin to you and did not cover up my iniquity. I said, I will confess my transgressions to the Lord, and you forgave the guilt of my sin. Therefore let all the faithful pray to you while you may be found. Surely the rising of the mighty waters will not reach them. You are my hiding place. Like we're hiding in Him, we're not hiding from Him. You are my hiding place. You will protect me from trouble and surround me with songs of deliverance.
Yes, Lord.
And dude, like that.
So good.
I remember like someone shared this with me in November, and I was like, whoa. Like I read this and I was like, man, like when we keep silent, we keep silent from the Lord, when we stop speaking, when we live in prayerlessness, we don't walk in repentance, right? We don't live that out. We're not doing daily confession. When we keep silent, our bones are wasting away through our groaning all day long. For day and night, His hand is heavy on us. Conviction is heavy on us. And we're doing nothing about it, so our strength is sapped in the heat of the summer. But then we acknowledge our sin to God, and we don't cover up our iniquity. I don't hide. I bring it out into the open. I go to my hiding place. I don't hide from Him. I said, I will confess my transgressions to the Lord, and He will forgive the guilt of my sin. And then it says, the rising of the mighty waters will not reach me. You become my hiding place. You protect me from trouble. You surround me with songs of deliverance. That is our inheritance. And that, walking in the shame and hiding, it's the enemy's tactic to keep us away from that. You know? Like, dude, that gets me fired up every time I read it. Every time I read this, the Lord shows me something different about this. And so sometimes we're not repentant. Why? Because the enemy wants us to believe that we don't have to be. Because he wants to keep us from this. From the deliverance that comes on the other side of repentance.
That's so good.
Wow. Hallelujah.
That's so good. Verse 6, therefore let anyone who is godly offer prayer to you at a time when you may be found.
Paul, you may
Surely
be
in the rush of great waters they shall not reach him.
Verse 7 says, you are my hiding place. You are a hiding place for me. You preserve me from trouble. You surround me with shouts of deliverance. And I wrote to the side, for where it says you are a hiding place for me, I wrote, you are my refuge.
Yep.
You preserve me from trouble, my navigator. Like you show me the path of righteousness that doesn't lead to trouble.
It's good.
And then where it says you surround me with shouts of deliverance, it says my champion. Which I think is so cool. Because number one, he is a champion who is already victorious. But I think about someone, when I say like they champion me, or like someone who champions you on, like really what that means is like my biggest cheerleader. They want to see me, like they want to see victory for me just as much as I do. Whether that be through intercession, through encouragement, through all the things. Like Olivia, you totally championed me in my life. And when I think about it in that context, like he surrounds me with shouts of deliverance. Like he prophesies what's not yet there, which is the deliverance that I am walking out. And he's like, the victory is yours. The victory is yours. Let's keep going. It's like I'm running this race that, like I told you earlier, I was like, Jenna, you have to choose it. Like I'm running in the way that I have to choose to run. But he's running right beside me when he doesn't have to, and saying, you got it. The victory's already yours. Like, just don't stop. It's yours. It's yours. Keep going. And that is such a beautiful image to me.
That's
that
so
he would
good.
shout over me deliverance.
Yeah.
When he's the one who already paid the price for me to walk in freedom.
Yep.
Okay, this has been, wow, all over the place kind of episode, which has been fun.
Mhm.
So in order to get things kind of to a place where we can end, because we've been going for a while now, I want to ask each of you, what emotion is the hardest for you to bring to the Lord? Whether that be sadness, anger. I can go first.
Okay.
Because I think I have mine. I think for me, don't really know how to explain it. It's not like a typical thing, I guess, to say, but like discontentment is hard for me to bring to the Lord. Like I think I'm really good at bringing my frustrations to the Lord.
Yeah.
It's something I've really learned to do over the past couple years. And when I feel sad, I bring that to the Lord, but I honestly, sometimes that's something I've struggled to feel recently, as we've kind of unpacked today.
Yeah.
But I think discontentment is hard for me because sometimes I don't even know why. Like I just feel like something's wrong, something's off, or like I'm lacking something, but I know I don't lack in Him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for me that can be the hardest feeling to bring to Him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, it's disappointment. Like, I think I feel disappointed a lot, honestly, in the ways that people act, or the things that people do, or the things they don't do, or even like things that the Lord takes away that I really wanted to keep, or things that the Lord asked me to do that I didn't want to do. And I think I just feel disappointed sometimes that when my life doesn't look the way that I want it to or feel like it should.
Right.
And I feel bad and shameful for telling the Lord that I'm disappointed, because it is revealing distrust. Like, it does say, like, hey, Lord, I feel disappointed because I don't trust that your way is better. But, like, that is true, but also I can still bring that to Him, and that's where the lie is.
Right.
Is me thinking that I can't bring that to Him and that He won't deal with that.
Yeah.
And that He won't receive me that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's been really hard for me, but I think actively in this season of my life, the Lord is like tearing that down, and welcoming me to be disappointed, because like when I bring my disappointment to Him, I find that He like changes my whole perspective, and then it's not disappointment anymore. But if I don't ever come to Him, then I'm just going to stay disappointed.
It's good. It's good.
Do you just go to one?
Sure. This is hard for me. I think for me it's confusion. Because confusion has been of the enemy, period, point blank, not of God. That's all. It's just not of God. And so when I'm buying into that, I find myself in a rut that is hard to get out of, because I've already given Him a foothold. So I think that's why it's so hard, is because it's not of Him, but I get confused about things that I think He's doing or don't know if He's doing, or like it's about like spiritual things or like really hard things in my life. And I know it's of the enemy, but it's hard to like get out of that without clear answers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's harder
Because
to
you're
hear
confused,
Him.
it's harder to get out of confusion.
Yes, literally. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that really even made sense, but
Oh, it does.
that is the hardest for me to bring to the Lord, for sure.
For me, it's definitely pride, but in the sense of like not living up to the standard I've set for myself. Like, for example, the Lord telling me to be quiet and receive tonight, or like in this episode. But like, it's hard for me because I feel like quietness is weakness. Like, that's my biggest weakness. But it's only because I'm like, it's like, it's stemming from pride. Like, I'm not I'm not like living up to the standard, I guess. So that's hard. And honestly, it also is fear of man in a way, because it's like, oh, what are people gonna think if I like don't say a single word, you know? But like I just need to get over that.
Yeah. Fear of man is pride.
Right.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of that verse in Ecclesiastes where it's like, better is like the man who says one word, or what is it? Let's see.
I'm about to get convicted.
This is like my
Conviction is loading right now.
Conviction? Look, that's me.
No, literally.
Oh boy.
Where even is it? I'm lost.
I'm gonna sing in this intermission.
For this intermission, Jenna will be performing There Goes That Man by Again. Take the stage, Jenna.
There we go. This is my debut. Oh my, it's so large.
It says, Ecclesiastes 4:6 says, better is a handful of quietness than 2 hands full of toil and striving after wind.
Yeah.
It's like you're working hard to prove something.
Striving. I love that it says striving.
Yeah.
It's better to be quiet than strive.
Man.
It's good.
Yikes.
That's so good.
That's good. And I think also, I love that because, like, Olivia, you were saying, like, oh, I'm about to get convicted. And, like, yes, if the Lord convicts you, great, obey. But, like, also, the Lord has created you two differently with intention.
Yeah.
And, like, it's okay that you talk more. Also, I just need you to know that. Like,
Thanks. I really
it is okay to also speak
true.
when it's not out of a place of striving. For her, it would be out of a place of striving because the Lord said, shut your mouth and listen.
Right.
Yeah.
For you, it'll be out of a place of striving to look a certain way if you just shut your mouth and didn't talk the whole time, because that's not what the Lord asked you to do in this moment.
That's
So,
true.
Yeah, that's good. I actually just did a Bible study on Ecclesiastes 4, which is crazy. And we spent a lot of time talking about like what are the intentions of my heart in the thing that I'm doing.
right.
You know, is it to look good and so people think that I'm so wise and I'm so this or that, or is it genuinely like the Lord has given me things to say and so I'm going to say them and I'm going to testify? Like that makes all the difference.
Right,
It's like, what am I working for?
Well, it also says that in Esther, it says like if she didn't open her mouth, then the Lord would have brought deliverance from another land, but her and her bloodline would have been cursed for generations or something like that. I'm totally saying that wrong.
It's okay.
Sorry. Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, like basically her assignment was to open her mouth.
Yes.
And others' assignment at times is to shut their mouth. There is a place for both.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that
good.
is the beauty of the kingdom.
Thanks. I need to hear that.
It's good.
Well, that was kind of a random way to end it, but more of us ministering to each other tonight. So, yeah, this episode has been interesting, for sure, one for the books.
Yep.
The Lord has certainly ministered to our hearts, and I hope that for you guys, it takes you into a place of allowing the Lord to search your heart and show you the places that maybe aren't healthy and don't look like Him right now. Because the reality is the things we feel are like what comes up to the surface, but sometimes, like we talked about with you, there's so much more that's deep rooted that, like, when you looked at me the wrong way, it made me feel a way that never should have made me feel.
Yeah.
You know?
That's good.
And so my prayer for you guys, and honestly for us as we continue to like sit on this, is that the Lord would reveal to everyone the places in our hearts that that maybe are in a place we don't realize they are right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's so good.
Yeah, well, this was a fun one. If you stuck it out to the end, great job. Pat yourself on the back. This was kind of heavy and probably not easy. But, yeah, it was a really sweet one too. So, thanks for joining us. We love y'all, and we'll see you next time.